In a small village nestled on the edge of an ancient forest, where tales of black magic and restless spirits were whispered by the elders, lived a young woman named Lan. She was simple, kind-hearted, and had never believed in superstitions or the supernatural. Her life was ordinary, filled with work and family, but all of that was about to change. One evening, Lan received an invitation to a party hosted by an old friend, curious and eager for a break. She accepted without hesitation. Little did she know that night would mark the start of a nightmare she could never escape. The party was held in a decrepit house deep within the forest. The dim flicker of candles and haunting melodies drifting through the air created an unsettling atmosphere. Among the guests were faces Lan barely recognized, their cold, piercing eyes locked onto her as if waiting for something. As midnight approached, Lan felt a strange pain creeping into her abdomen. At first it was mild, just a dull ache, but soon it intensified, twisting and writhing as if something alive had awakened inside her. The old friend, known in the village as a powerful sorcerer, stepped forward, his smile dark and knowing. "You will never escape the gift I've given you, Lan," he whispered like a curse. Panicked, Lan tried to pull away, but the pain consumed her, ripping through her body like fire. The room around her seemed to distort, and faint voices echoed in her mind, whispers of a world unseen, pulling her into an abyss of darkness she had never imagined. That night, Lan was cursed with a dark spell, one that bound her soul and body in invisible chains. She could feel life and death battling inside her with every heartbeat, trapped in a terrifying war she didn't understand. After that fateful night, Lan returned home burdened by a heaviness she couldn't shake. The pain inside her grew sharper, more relentless, as if something alive was stirring, struggling within her belly. Each day it gnawed deeper, tearing at her from the inside. At first she kept it secret from her family, afraid to worry them. But when night fell, the pain became unbearable, accompanied by eerie whispers in her mind, soft voices trying to break through her consciousness. Lan began to see shadowy figures lurking at the edges of her vision. Ghostly shapes that vanished whenever she looked directly at them. She told herself it was only her imagination, a symptom of the pain, but deep down she knew these were not mere illusions. Her moods twisted unpredictably. Moments of overwhelming anger would suddenly consume her. Waves of fear and anxiety washed over her for no reason she could explain. One day while walking down the street, she collapsed. Inside, it felt as if a monstrous entity was thrashing wildly, desperate to break free. Doctors could find nothing wrong. They suggested stress or a psychological disorder, but Lan knew better. This was something supernatural, an ancient curse lodged deep inside her. One night as she slept, a cold wind swept through her room. Before her appeared a shadowy figure wearing a wooden mask, its dark, hollow eyes piercing into her soul. The figure whispered chilling words that stole her breath away. "The demon inside you has awakened. It does not seek only to survive, but to control you, to make you a slave of the darkness." From that moment, Lan no longer felt safe in her own body. She began to document every strange event, desperate to find a way to break free. But whenever she tried to speak of it, the voices inside her would grow louder, threatening her, and the pain would surge, unbearable and fierce. Lan realized she was trapped in a hidden world, a battle between soul and demon, and the only thing she could do was hold onto her will. To avoid being swallowed by endless darkness, each day felt like an endless nightmare for Lan. Not only was the pain in her abdomen tormenting her relentlessly, but strange whispers echoed inside her mind, soft voices calling from another world, growing louder and more insistent with every passing night. She would wake up in the dead of night, in the stillness of her room, hearing faint footsteps echoing somewhere unseen. Lan began to sense a presence constantly nearby, an invisible yet close force that sent chills down her spine. She tried telling her mother about what she was experiencing, but all she received was a worried, frightened look, as if her mother had once faced something similar and was trying to hide it. One afternoon, while sitting alone in her room, the pain in Lan's belly surged to an unbearable intensity. She fell to her knees, clutching her stomach as cold sweat poured down her body. In that moment, an image appeared before her eyes, a frail old woman with silver hair and deep, sorrowful eyes. The woman looked at Lan with pity, but also with a stern warning. That demon is not just a curse, it is a trapped soul, starving for life, and it has chosen you to be reborn. A shiver ran through Lan's body. She tried to ask more, but the vision slowly faded like a strange dream. From that day on, Lan understood that what was inside her was not merely a curse, but a conscious entity, growing stronger by the hour. The pain became more than physical. Lan began losing control of parts of her body. Moments she could not remember what she did, strange words slipping from her lips as if another being was taking over. Fear crept into every corner of Lan's mind, but she knew she had to seek the truth and confront the darkness if she wanted to survive. She decided to find a renowned shaman in the region, rumored to have the power to expel evil spirits and break ancient curses. Before leaving, Lan wrote a letter to her family, knowing the path ahead would be perilous, an ordeal from which she might not return unchanged. Lan left her home on a gloomy morning when mist still clung to the tree branches. In her hand was a letter for her family, the last message before stepping into a path unknown. Inside her heart, fear wrestled with determination. She knew if she didn't find a way to break the curse, the demon inside her would consume her completely. The sorcerer she sought lived in a small hut deep within the ancient forest, about 2 hours away from her village. Upon arrival, the air around the place felt sacred, as if everything silently awaited her. The sorcerer was an old man with piercing eyes that held profound knowledge and a hint of sternness. "You are not like the others," he said in a deep, calm voice. "The demon inside you is no ordinary curse. It is a tormented soul, a being that has survived centuries, now trying to be reborn through your body." Lan recounted everything from the night she was cursed, the unbearable pain, the ghostly figures in mirrors, to the endless whispers inside her mind. The sorcerer listened attentively, nodding as if piecing together a dreadful puzzle. "To defeat the darkness, you must face it directly," he said. "I will guide you through an ancient ritual, a dialogue with that soul, but danger lurks at every step, one mistake, and you may lose both your spirit and body." Lan felt the weight of the task and the risks, but her fear had been replaced by fierce resolve. She agreed. In the days that followed, Lan underwent rigorous training under the sorcerer's guidance, meditation, chanting sacred mantras, and preparing her mind for the upcoming confrontation. The pain inside her abdomen did not ease. Sometimes it intensified, as if the soul inside resisted fiercely. On the night of the ritual, in a small room adorned with ancient talismans, incense smoke curling in the air, and flickering candlelight battling the surrounding darkness, the sorcerer began to call out the name of the trapped soul, chanting words that seemed to shake the unseen realms. Lan sat upright, eyes closed tightly, feeling every rapid beat inside her. Suddenly, a chilling gust of icy wind swept in, followed by a scream that echoed inside her mind, a scream of a soul imprisoned too long, filled with rage and despair. "I am here, I am hungry, you cannot cast me out." That voice shattered all barriers, flooding Lan's mind like a violent storm. Her body trembled violently, the pain threatened to crush her, but she held on with all her might. The internal battle had begun, a life-or-death struggle between her will and the dark force seeking to claim her soul. The night of the ritual stretched into an eternity. Lan sat motionless, her body trembling but her spirit fiercely determined. The sorcerer's chants filled the room, weaving a fragile barrier between the physical and the spiritual worlds. The air grew thick, heavy, with an ancient power that pressed down on her chest like 1,000 unseen hands. Suddenly, a shadowy figure erupted from within her, a dark, twisted form with burning eyes and a voice like cracking thunder. The demon that had haunted her was no longer content to hide. It lashed out, trying to seize control of her body and soul. Lan's mind became a battlefield. The demon whispered lies, promises of power and freedom if she surrendered. But deep inside, Lan found a hidden strength, a light she didn't know she had. She fought back, calling upon memories of love, hope, and life beyond the curse. The sorcerer intensified his chants, binding the demon's fury with sacred words. Flames of ethereal light surged around Lan, pushing back the darkness inch by inch. The demon screamed in rage, its form flickering like a dying ember. Desperate to cling to the life it had stolen, with one final surge of will, Lan reached deep inside herself, grasping the demon's essence and refusing to let go. The room exploded with a blinding flash and then silence. When the light faded, Lan lay exhausted but free. The demon was gone, sealed away, trapped where it could harm no one. The pain in her belly vanished, replaced by a calm warmth spreading through her body. The sorcerer looked at her with a rare, soft smile. "You have won, but remember, the darkness never truly disappears. You must remain strong, for it will always seek a way back." Lan nodded. Tears streaming down her face, tears of relief, sorrow, and a newfound resilience. She was scarred but alive, forever changed by the battle within. As she returned home, the village seemed different, quieter, yet somehow more alive. Lan knew her journey was far from over, but she was ready to face whatever came next, armed with the strength she found deep inside. Weeks passed after the ritual, and Lan returned to her village carrying a fragile peace. The unbearable pain was gone, and the dark whispers that haunted her mind had fallen silent. Yet a quiet unease settled deep inside her heart, like a shadow lingering just beyond the edge of her vision. Though the demon was sealed away, Lan felt its presence in subtle ways. Sometimes when she was alone, she caught glimpses of movement in the corner of her eye, shadows shifting unnaturally, and cold drafts brushing past her like whispered warnings. Lan tried to rebuild her life, reconnecting with family and friends who had watched helplessly as she fought her inner battle. Yet she knew the darkness had not left her entirely. It was patient, waiting for a chance to return. One night, while gazing at the moonlit sky, Lan noticed a faint glow emanating from her belly, soft and pulsing like a heartbeat. Panic rose in her chest. Had the ritual failed? Was the demon merely resting, gathering strength for another assault? Desperate for answers, Lan sought out the sorcerer once more. This time she found him in a remote mountain village, meditating beneath ancient trees. "The seal is strong," he assured her, "but the darkness within you is ancient. It is bound by your will and the ritual, but it feeds on fear and doubt. You must guard your mind as fiercely as your body." Lan realized her battle was no longer just physical. It was a war for her soul, an unending vigilance against the creeping shadows within. Months turned to years. Lan learned to live with the quiet pulse of darkness inside her, neither friend nor foe, but a constant reminder of the price she paid. She became a protector, not only of herself, but of others vulnerable to the unseen forces lurking in the world. Using the knowledge gained from the sorcerer, Lan traveled far and wide, helping those cursed by spirits and dark magic. Yet each night before she slept, she whispered a prayer, a plea for strength to keep the demon locked away. Sometimes in the silence, she heard the faintest whisper, a voice from the shadowy depths, reminding her it was still there, waiting. But Lan no longer feared it. The darkness had shaped her into something stronger, wiser. She was no longer a helpless victim, but a warrior in an invisible war. And as the moon rose high, casting silver light on the world, Lan stood firm, guardian of the fragile boundary between light and shadow, forever bound to the eternal vigil.